day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? We're live and in living color. Thank God for moving the clouds and letting the sun shine in. Yesterday, Halloween or whatever you call it, the 31st, everybody's so deep.
Hallelujah night.
It was a record-breaking day in the city of Buffalo. I was in my car and it was 82 degrees. I can deal with this all day, but boy, when the winter, when Mother shows up, when Mother Nature shows up, I think, I wrote a newsletter article for this month and about the change of season and learn how to deal with it. Ain't nothing we can do about it. Mm-mm. So that's the time to say, okay, what am I going to do in this season? What am I going to do in this season instead of, and I made up my mind about that years ago. Instead of sitting around complaining, it gets darker earlier, less sunlight. It could be a miserable time if you let it, or you start concentrating on, all right, I know for me, I don't like outside in the winter. I ain't been to Kissing Bridge since.
You're not going to go toboggan.
And Kissing Bridge got sold, too. Just got sold for over $1 million or something dollars. I ain't been to Kiss. I'm sure somebody else will open it. What? Well, you got to talk right now, Mike.
But the seasons are changing, and even our weather pattern, because of global warming, is changing.
Well, some people say there is no global warming.
Well, yeah.
It's all in our mind.
It's the MAGA.
It's all in our mind.
It's MAGA.
But yeah, so those of you who are out there who are like me, who get seasonal depression, and I do at times get seasonal depression when it gets really cold. Period.
Or less sun.
Huh?
Less sun.
Or less sun. It can kind of affect me a little bit. However, I made up in my mind a few years ago, hey, you got to roll with it. Find something to do. Clean your basement. It's going to take me all winter to get that done.
Take your vitamin D.
So I did go yesterday and do the first challenge on my assessment. And I tried to let everybody know in every way that I could. And people were like, oh, I didn't know anything about it. Well, but the one thing, on the bill, because I had somebody read it to me, or on your assessment, it didn't say about these, this first informal meeting. It only had about the formal meeting. I thought that was a little disappointing because a lot of people had no idea that they could, and really, I'm not in City Hall anymore. I saw it on social media from somebody, and then I checked and I called on the last day that I could do the informal meeting, and I sat down with them with pictures and with all kinds of other stuff to be able to challenge that assessment. Now, the formal one will be coming up, and that's written right on that assessment form. So, folks, if you feel that the assessment that was given on your house is incorrect, I had a lot, a empty lot that they said was worth $40,000. I want to know where.
I was going to say, and if it is, you can have it. You can.
I'm selling it tomorrow.
Let's make a deal.
It's
have it.
Ain't nobody giving me no $40,000 on that lot, so I had to challenge it and take a picture of it and all that kind of stuff. And that's you got to do it. I'm gonna try to be, I'm trying to get out of this realm. But as April Baskin texted me at my anniversary, she told this story about how when she won, everybody was texting, and I'm talking about her first race when, everybody was texting her congratulations, and I text her serve the people. And she had a feeling about that. I didn't know that until recently because she, was like, well, why is he saying that to me? And I meant it, and I say it to everybody. And so at my anniversary banquet, she texts me, keep serving the people. And I appreciated that. So, I've been on the sidelines, and I'm not about to come to the front of the line. But I do think that there is some information out there that on the platforms that I've been privileged to have that it's important for people to know. Just like the Jefferson Avenue project, I don't want to see when they get done that, all these bump outs all over the place, but people have to be involved, because if we have the bump outs, we're going to be like Fillmore Avenue, where only one bit of traffic can go down the street. And I've been talking about that, but I got to talk about it a little more. All right. Well, you know the topic today. We got to talk about voting, and I know some people are ready to turn off the radio already, but I'm not going to talk about the voting you think. I am a little bit going to talk about something that just is hot off the press that I cannot believe. And I shouldn't be. Why am I doing my fingers like him? I shouldn't be surprised anymore of what comes out of this man's mouth. I just should not be surprised. But it just is mind blowing to me that that this comes out of his mouth. You early voting is today the last day or tomorrow?
Sunday.
So
Sunday's the last day.
Let me throw some knowledge out there because even yesterday I was explaining to people because they're like, well, where do I vote? You can vote at any of the locations. They go by your address.
Yes.
And the form will spit out for you your unique form. And it's not just voting for your party, but if you're a party voter or whatever, but there's some propositions on the bottom.
Yep.
And that always kind of disappoints me that there's really no discussion about what the propositions are on the bottom. And I don't know if can you pull up a copy? Let's see if we pull up a copy. I want to give people knowledge because I got there. I had to sit there and read the propositions on the bottom because it's never talked about. Because candidates are trying to win, so they ain't trying to put any effort into the education of people about the propositions that are on the bottom.
Yeah, I heard someone say something, speak to the proposition, but not in detail. Only thing they said is say yes to the proposition one.
Yeah, you can't tell me to just say yes.
You gotta explain to people why they're saying
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm going to educate in a few minutes on the propositions when we pull that up. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about this, the comments that were made yesterday by one of the candidates. And then we're going to dig in about the school board candidates because most people don't know anything about them. About most of them. You know about the incumbents, but there's other people who are running. And folks, the presidential race is important. It is globally important. But probably the most important thing we have in our households is our children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And while governments and the federal government is, to me, again, still not paying enough attention. And I'm an equal opportunity complainer. They're not paying enough attention to education. Yeah. And we haven't really had a press on education in decades, where that's the focus. Our focus, let's be honest, right now, is about foreign countries and keeping them afloat. And I got it. Because on a global scale, you have to. We're the superpower. But at the end of the day, the superpower have got to take care of the super children.
Yeah, because we're falling further and further behind worldwide as far as education. I mean, we were one of the top 10.
Yeah.
I want to say now we're like 30.
But now, and you can't even be mad when people come in from other countries because the conversation and the concentration from households to their universities, to everything else is on education. It's about preparing you for the future. I'm going to read to you some of the comments that L. Nathan Hare made at a recent, so we're going to come to that. But first, let me see if I can get my mic right. But first, let me see. Hold on, y'all. Everybody hold on. Everybody wait a minute.
Hold on.
Against you with Kamala Harris.
Well, I think it hurts Kamala a lot, actually. Look, she's a deranged person.
Wow.
But the reason she couldn't stand me is that she always wanted to go to war with people. I don't want to go to war. She wanted to stay in Syria. I took them out. She wanted to stay in Iraq. I took them out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face.
Let me play that one more time.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person, and I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people.
Talking about Liz Cheney, calls her stupid, says let's basically put her in front of a firing squad.
Yep.
Folks, let me give a disclaimer. We do not endorse on this show. The opinions that you hear are simply those who speak it, not necessarily the opinions of this radio station, nor the opinions of our sponsors. Now, here's my concern. You want to be the leader of the free world again.
Yep.
And not even him, the fact that people around him are applauding and approving of a man saying, let's put her in front of a firing squad, and they're going to wear the hat,
Yep.
and they're going to put the signs on the lawn, and they're going to be proud of that. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, there's no two ways about it that there are people who side with this guy. If the race is close and you're siding with someone who sounds deranged, he sounds like he's from Russia or somewhere. He doesn't sound like he's candidate for the United States of America. The things that he said about Liz Cheney, and I appreciate Hillary Clinton was on CNN about a week ago. I appreciate, she says, you know what, me and Liz Cheney don't agree on much. I didn't agree with her father on much, but we do agree about being able to disagree from the perspective of being a United States citizen. And for this guy to, every time someone goes against him, he wants to take a rifle and he wants to put him on a firing squad. And people are agreeing with that. That's the sad part.
Yeah, they are. They are definitely, there is a section of people who agree with it. And you would think this guy would have learned, but you want to talk about inciting violence? Like, every child would, is amazed if a president of the United States came to their school. Oh my gosh, right? Or listening to a president of the United States. And to hear someone who wants to lead our country again incite violence after he's already incited violence on the Capitol, been called to the carpet for it, it just doesn't stop.
It doesn't, and the sad truth is that most Republican Party people don't agree with him, don't want him, don't agree with him, but they're too afraid to walk away because there's now so much of a voting block with him. Mm-hmm. That's the unfortunate thing, because even when you're getting behind him on, just say, the one issue, abortion, or if you're getting behind him on the LGBTQ stuff, but then it's like you're swallowing that to ignore everything else he said. And to both of your points, it's the transference down to the immature voter or the ignorant voter, or those that are susceptible to whatever information is out there. I know somebody who just presented to kids at a school, and they were talking about sexual assault and this, that, and the other. And I forget what the question was, but the comments out from the kids, the students, was, oh, that's Joe Biden. Not the president that openly admitted on that he has and said he can do it because he's rich. But now, because of just whatever information is thrown out there, you have now a new generation that it just runs with that false information.
Absolutely, because they believe whatever many of them believe whatever they hear or see. But there are some people out there with mental illness. Yes. I don't want to use a derogatory word against them, with some real mental situations that making a suggestion like that, you who just allegedly got shot in the ear, you who decry that this man coming at you, and now you sit on a platform with millions of people who will watch and see. You telling me there's not somebody out there who will say, "Oh, well, he said she should be met with a firing squad."
Yep.
She deserves Secret Service protection right
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you said it right at the top. You're not surprised by what comes out of this mouth. I mean, the comment that he made, or not he made, but the person at his convention in Madison Square Garden about Hispanic and Puerto Rico. I'm like, and he said it was a love fest. It was a love fest. We were loving. It was so loving. This guy is deranged.
Let him keep talking though. To me, they got to sit Joe to the side because he came back with the garbage stuff. But Trump did say, and I found that people have been playing it, that the Democrats were garbage. So don't try to. And this was years ago, but you said it. So now you change. Let me go to some of the Facebook comments because it is. They said no audio, but we got audio now, I believe. All right. Does anyone have? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right. It's good now. Today is All Hallows Day. Let me see. I want to get to some of the comments. There should be universal automatic voter registration for all who are of age in this participatory democracy. We need greater participation. Vanita says nonpartisan recording from the League of Women Voters in Delta Sigma Theta sorority on Proposal 1 is on YouTube. I'll see if I can get to, you found it.
Yeah,
we found it.
I
Thanks,
got
Vanita.
information, yep.
When he first ran, I noticed undercover haters were coming out of the woodwork. Carolyn Lane says it's not going to stop. He's, Trump. Kamal says women having a choice on their health care. And Lakeisha says, Lakeisha voted yesterday for Kamala Harris. I think one of the it's so much to unpack here, and I do want to get, but I will get to the school board race after the break at 12:30. But somebody wrote like this: some rhetoric from a former president and current presidential candidate can be seen as undermining democratic norms and institutions. It suggests that political opponents should be met with violence rather than debate or legal processes. They just had an incident. And I'm not saying one goes with the other, but it is about a violent society at one of the high schools. Mm-hmm. This kid was in intensive care. It was really over something rather just minor. They take it from school over to the park and jump one person, and now we got 3 young people whose lives may be altered forever based on violence, and then other people around them encouraging the crap, encouraging it, recording it, laughing at it while somebody's being brutally beat. Whether y'all want to hear it or not, and I don't give a daggone anymore, I promise you, that's sickness.
Yes.
And then we get mad when you go to your doctor and your doctor don't look like you.
Yep.
Because they've come from cultures, they've come where norms are not to hurt one another, but the norms are to build something in your life. And then if you say anything about it, you consider the sellout. What we got to understand, we got people running for office who incite violence, but they got money.
Sure do.
Let me tell y'all this. Y'all can take a Donald Trump and be like, oh, well, he said he got money. And if he don't have money, he got resources. And if he don't have resources, he got relationships with people who have it. His kids ain't never going to suffer. His grandkids ain't going to suffer. His great-grandkids ain't going to suffer. We suffer down family lines because of violence and foolishness. Sorry. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, I was going to say, you have no reason to apologize.
But that's the thing. We don't say it. Many of us will sit on the side and we'll talk about it silently. But you've said this, and I think it's so true. We don't move as a collective. There was a time when you came back from Ghana and you talked about the respect and the dignity of the elders and how the culture.
Yes.
Our culture is just, I don't know. It's almost like a third world country.
It's broken.
That we don't
care.
Is. And even when you speak to the educational system, we would go to the school, our parents would go to the school.
Absolutely.
And they would be on you, hey, you got to get them grades up.
First of all, if your parent went to the school and you wasn't,
Terrified.
they went to the school often, and I was slipping in some. I used to always do well the first semester. Oh, bang it out the first semester. By the third semester,
Second and third is always a struggle.
Bro, I ain't even interested no more. Fourth, I got to catch up, so
Absolutely.
I can go on to the next grade. But you were afraid.
Yep.
And what happened to that day when kids were afraid when their parents showed up? I'm going to tell you what happened. Some of the parents show up and they want to challenge the teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was a teacher. I know y'all little bam bams ain't the best thing when they leave. When y'all drop them off, some of them turn into something a little different. While protected by free speech, such statements from a political leader raise ethical concerns and potentially legal questions about incitement or threats against public figures. If when I was elected, I got on the bench and said, or in the interview, we ought to shoot at such and such. Well, how would such and such feel if you shot at them? It would be like his campaign, nor he has retracted those statements at this moment.
Nope.
There's been no retraction. There has been nothing that says this is not what he meant.
Because there's no outcry from it. And, again, we talked about this great experiment that our forefathers drafted from breaking away from this monarchy in England.
Yes.
And what they thought in this experiment is the people will hold the electeds accountable.
Yes.
Well, right now, he's got at least 80 million people who says, hey, go say whatever you want, whether we agree with it or not.
Yep.
But you're leading our party.
Yep.
Go have at it.
Yep.
So when there's no accountability
Yep.
from anywhere, this is what you get.
And exactly. And then there are people who look like you and I, and who I'm not voting for a woman. And let me be honest. There are some things that Trump says that I totally agree with. I totally agree with getting more money from tariffs than from people. I do. You want to bring goods and products over here?
Yep.
You want to bring cars over here? You're gonna pay a premium. At the end of the day, you ain't building nothing over here. You ain't building no engines over here so that we can eat. Pay a premium.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree with that.
Absolutely.
I do not agree with other things. We paying. Let's be honest. Everybody in this room, the three of us, ain't none of us multimillionaires, billionaires. We paying more tax and percentage
Oh, absolutely.
than the richest people
Absolutely.
in the United States.
Yeah, I think it's around 27% now.
So that's where I can't agree with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't agree with the man on that. So, but at the end of the day, I don't get the right to incite. I know free speech is one thing, but you talking about inciting violence.
Yep.
And it seems like the people who had I know they've been trying to look at reforms as far as money, campaign financing, but now it just seems like anybody can donate. When you think about Elon Musk and what he's doing right now, trying to buy votes, and it seems as though he's all in for Trump.
And the judge, he's in court right now.
Yeah.
And the judge let him off. The judge basically is saying he can still do it while we have the hearing. Wow. The election will be over by the time the hearing. That just happened yesterday.
That's what.
So the money plays.
I was going to say that's what money gets you
now. And so it's less of the people and more about the money. I mean, Trump is out here just saying all sorts of madness, and it seems so people are gravitating to it. And I think it just speaks to the state of our union.
Yeah.
That this is more. People move towards that than a peaceful transition of power.
And I will say this, kind of piggybacking, and as we transition to the local stuff, for most people who don't know, and this is why I think a lot of Americans are kind of over it. Once you realize that most elections are nothing but popularity contests and who can just get the voice to as many people as possible, whatever you're saying really doesn't matter. It's just how many commercials can you get in front of people? How many social media ads can you get in front of people? How many phone calls, text messages, emails? Because really, most people aren't watching the commercials past the first 5 seconds. Most people aren't reading the text messages. I delete them as soon as I get them. You're only reading the headline of an email, the subject line. So it's just, now it's just locked in. And then besides someone tapping into partisan television, because let's be honest, CNN is very partisan. Fox News is partisan. All of these things, very partisan television. You have to go search for a balanced reporting system
Absolutely.
to get information.
Absolutely.
And those are getting fewer and fewer and fewer.
I agree.
So you have nowhere to just get good information. So if I was a uninformed or some undecided voter, I that's why I'm more inclined to sit home, because I don't know where to get information from.
Yeah.
You're telling me one thing, but then I hear something else over here, or I see this ad, and then I see this ad. So where do I go to get solid information?
Well, I do agree with you. You know, all of us are getting all the mailers
Yes.
now and all that kind of stuff. I don't read the mailer.
No.
I look at the picture. You are totally right. I'm like, oh, who was he with today?
Yep.
Who's on the picture?
That's it.
And then it goes right in the recycle.
Yeah, it sure
Because
does.
usually by the time I'm getting those mailers, I done already made up my mind.
Already made up my mind, already voted.
I done been to the vote. Where did I go? I went to Delavan Grider. Went to Delavan Grider.
Mm-hmm.
So the ladies in there said, hey, are you really done with politics? And I was like, I'm never going to say never, because I learned never to say never, because I said never about the school board and then ended up back. So I ain't saying never. But I am saying that ain't on my bucket list right now. And then I go to the store to buy, I wish I could tell y'all where I bought the most horrible steak sandwich, but I'm not. I misread something. on the internet.
Oh, geez.
And they were talking about there's a good, like almost like Scotty's, and it said Fillmore and Delavan. But the only thing there is McDonald's and the gas station. So somebody help me. It's supposed to be this wonderful steak sandwich. I ended up with a steak sandwich on like a hot dog bun. I ain't lying to y'all. And they put mayonnaise on. Yep, I ain't gonna say it.
Well, we got to go to the break.
I never dogged a local business. But if y'all know where to get a good steak sandwich like Scotty's, I read online. See what I mean? Online,
yeah.
Online, somebody says so, and a lot of people commented. So I don't know if it's in the gas station. I ain't really with getting my food in the gas station except for some crispy chicken. All right, listen, I'm coming over to the station. I hope you're ready for the commercials. I'm coming over to the station for the commercials in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
So we're done with that. We got to get to some local stuff. But somebody said, well, it disappeared. Benita was talking. Now, Latasha talking about the steak place that I keep hearing about. She says it's a place over there. Tasha, that don't mean nothing.
Over
There's
yonder.
there's a place over there. Where? Where's a place over there? Is it in the gas station?
Over yonder.
Let me know. Do I get my gas and my sandwich at the same time? Can I go in and order? I ain't a fan of eating in gas stations, but if it's good, it's good. If it's good, it's good. In West Virginia, I'm not a liver eater, but they used to have a place called the Hole in the Wall, and everybody went, and it's still stand. Well, the last time I went to West Virginia, still saying it's not open anymore. But sometimes the word, I love Waffle House, and it's nasty, and the dirty it is.
Got to be the dirty.
If it's dirty, I'm all in. So she gonna say again, it's there. Where could you be? Listen, you about to make me act like I'm watching the YSL trial. Everybody asks me, do you understand the English language? You giving me little Woody vibes here,
God.
little Woody vibes. And Young Jock then got off. He got a sweet deal.
I was gonna call you. I'm like, did you know
This
the guy got
dude,
off?
they gave him his passport. You can this what money. Now other people took plea deals and they left out in handcuffs. She almost was like she was a fan. She was like, you could have your passport, you could travel. I want you to go to school to a school like 4 times a year. You can't come to Atlanta unless somebody's sick. It's a funeral, somebody graduating high school, or you coming in to do good service. You can be with people with guns as long as they show your. Wow. Young Thug walked out there like, I sat for 2 years. Now, I know most of my audience has no idea. If it weren't for YouTube, I wouldn't know either.
I was the only thing I was getting ready to say is, man, it must be nice.
It must be nice.
Must be
I'm
nice
like,
because
this dude,
I
I
don't.
thought he was going under.
But they took those plea deals, but 2 of them they won't. I just looked online. The gas station. Tasha says,
I told
all
you.
right,
I
so
told you it's in the
what
gas
I'm going to do today, is for lunch, I'm going to the gas station.
It's a cart parked next to the gas station.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find it.
They seem to be battling, but not sure you would be interested. And then somebody says it's clear at the gas station.
Okay, Tasha.
Yeah, so
because I was about to. I was going to YSL you.
Can the car get the grill hot enough to do it?
Obviously, it is because people are really talking about this cart. So
listen,
I'm gonna ride over there.
Listen, don't threaten me with a good time, man. I'm from Philly. I need a good steak in my life.
All right, local elections, folks. There's 2 propositions. What's the proposition?
There was 2. I only found 1.
Okay.
So Proposition 1. Hold on, let me swing here. Proposition 1 is a yes vote on Prop 1 supports allowing the county legislature to adopt a state authorized 1% and 0.75% sales and compensating use taxes by a simple majority vote instead of the currently required 2/3 vote.
So basically, it's saying you already paying this tax, but we got to have 2/3 votes to keep it going.
Yes,
because it was supposed to be a temporary tax.
Yep.
And so what they're saying now is, hey, give us an easier way to do this, so we don't
5-4.
have to work with the Republicans
pretty much
in order to get this done, but that we could do it on our own. That's all this
pretty
is.
much.
So just so that you all know, it's just a easier way to get your taxes. They're going to get it anyway,
one way or another,
because Republicans and Democrats both basically vote for it they get it majority votes because it has never stopped.
Yes.
And if it stops, it's going to affect the budget of the county.
Yep.
So that's why it hasn't been a big thing out there. And you know what? This is the killer part for me. Some of these vocal groups, it's a little quiet. You want to go after individuals, turn whole communities against each other while you don't even live in the hood. For real.
Just say how you feel.
But when it comes to stuff like this in education,
that makes me want to learn how to whistle.
Now I can't do it. So that's what that proposition, it is on the ballot. And so educate yourself with it and make a choice to vote for it or not. Enough people are going to vote for it regardless of whether you do it or not, because most people are not educated on it. And so that's just how it is.
Now, I'll tell you, it might be a tighter number because, Erie County, once you get outside city limits, it's really red.
Okay, so you think it might be because in the city, they just going across the line.
Right. And so it might be a little tough on the county parts. If they get the word out.
Okay, I get that. School board is coming up, and I think it's one of the most important elections that we have. You got presidential, but, when you talk about the achievement gap, and especially for Black America, between Black and white students, it's still a problem. It is reported that Black students consistently score lower on standardized tests in subjects like reading, math, and civics compared to other students. Only a small percentage of Black 8th graders perform at or above proficient levels in various subjects, and poverty has a lot to do with it. The poverty rates and lack of resources significantly impact Black students' educational experience. Nearly 1/3, or 32%, of Black students lived in poverty in 2018, and we know that here in this area, it's even higher. Thanks to those who put on the candidates forum for school board, I'm going to read to you just a few comments from L. Nathan Hare, and if you know L. Nathan Hare, you already know what he's going to say. He says this, quote, "When you say the same things over and over again, and we're going to have the same problems over and over again, and when you find," and this is out of the Buffalo Challenger, "when you find you have the same problems over and over again, you keep responding the same way. You don't have to ask, are you asking you the right questions? If the right questions are being asked," he said, "you should be getting different answers, and you should be doing different things. You should have different problems." Ironically, he continued, the same things we're talking about today, we're talking about in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, before the pandemic, the same problems. Now, there are candidates running, and like I said, the for voters of Buffalo. If you go to for the voters of Buffalo, New York, let me do that. For the voters of Buffalo, New York, and it's .org, not .com, .org. You will see a list of all of the candidates. Now, I'm just going to say this. Most of them I do not know. Most of them I have never even heard about. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't vote. So let me give you on this show a quick rundown of the voters. There is, and I'm only reading in the order that they have been given to me, and I will comment if I have met them. Janita Everhart, I have met her. She has come to the church on several times. And that's not an endorsement; it's a fact. Is a candidate for the Buffalo Schools at-large board member position. As a proud graduate of district, her Buffalo school education provided the foundation for a higher education opportunity. She holds a bachelor's in communication studies, a master's in applied science, with a specialization in training teachers and leaders. Now, the only thing it's not missing. So whoever did this website, I really want to commend them, because then they ask them 6 questions that you can go and look at their answers. So educate yourself. I can't do that because I want to have discussion. And I promise you, I'm going to say the name wrong. Please charge it wherever. Razia Hill. Razia Hill is a graduate of Villa, currently pursuing a degree in public health. Trying to get down to why her platform focuses on whole family services, building stronger partnerships with community organizations, and expanding equitable access to support programs. Say her name again.
Razia.
Razia is committed to championing the efforts of educators, families, and community leaders to ensure every student in Buffalo has the resources needed to succeed both in and out of the classroom. Edward Spidell, I don't think I've ever met him. I don't believe I've met Miss Hill. Edward Spidell, lifelong resident of South Buffalo, is a devoted husband to Amy and father of 4. He has a daughter who's a registered nurse. He has sons who are graduates. His youngest son is currently in 8th grade at school 156. 2 of his boys have special needs. That rings a bell to me. Yep. That he has. And again, not an endorsement. I'm just pulling out some of the things that they put here, that he probably knows that system and what it needs from a personal perspective. He is a passionate advocate for children's educational rights, especially those with special needs. He's also a veteran. Thank you for your service. Adriana Zulik is a candidate, and she's a candidate. She's a mother, 3 children currently in school. 1 is a graduate. Her daughter relies on a wheelchair. and she's had to navigate the complex special education system. So both of these parents have that. She's an advocate of the PTO at Makowski, right in the hood. Prior to this, she says, I earned a law degree at UB, where I also served as co-director of the Human Rights Center. All right. Committed to making a difference. I will push for transparency in the special education department. I will fight to ensure that schools receive sufficient resources, blah, blah, blah. Now, again, this is just a snapshot. I would like to hear more in which candidate understands poor people and understands the need, especially of children of color, and not be ashamed of that. Larry Scott, Buffalo Schools school board candidate, proud father of 2 boys attending public schools, and he's an incumbent, which means he's already elected. He's running again, and a baseball coach for the Hurdle North Park Youth League. He's a school psychologist working with middle school. He's deeply committed to advocating for children's well-being. I know Larry. Larry has been around. Larry has been here, so I know Larry. Terrence Hurd is a dedicated community and an incumbent advocate, visionary for over 29 years. Passionate defender of equitable education. He has championed teachers, students, and unions while serving on numerous educational committees. Hurd is a Lifeline resident. I do want to correct one thing on this. I don't know where they got this from, but it says he was elected as the first African-American male at-large board member.
And that's not true.
That's not true. Me. I was elected as Now, I don't even know if I was the first one. But I know that I was elected as the at-large board member. I was African-American male.
Sounds good.
Yep, just wanted to make sure. So Hurd has been there. He's been fighting. I know Hurd. Hurd has been to True Bethel. Hurd belonged to True Bethel at one time. And so at the end of the day, I want to throw that out there of the candidates I know, the candidates I don't know. That means not a hill of beans that I don't know them, by the way. You need to educate yourself. I want to encourage you to go to forthevotersofbuffalonewyork.org and read the questions that they answer. I didn't do that, in all fairness to every one of these candidates, because maybe one of them did address African Americans.
Well, I'll just read the questions.
Go ahead.
I'll just read the questions.
That's a good idea.
Question 1 was improving literacy outcomes through evidence-based instruction. Question 2, enhancing college and career readiness with new graduation pathways. 3, ensuring adequate and equitable funding for Buffalo Public Schools. 4, supporting student recovery and well-being post-pandemic. 5, promoting a diverse teaching workforce. And 6, expanding dual enrollment and advanced coursework opportunities.
Now, were those questions?
Those were the 6 questions.
I don't hear a question.
Yeah.
I don't hear an open-ended question like,
what
would you improve? Period.
Yeah.
Leave the door open.
Now, some of them do have websites, so I guess, like you said,
Okay.
I'd do the digging.
Go do the digging.
Yeah, because
Go do the digging, but go vote. Wait a minute. Yeah, go vote. Yeah. I was. My mind went blank whether I voted for school board. I'm like, do I remember that on my ballot? But
now,
yes.
So now, what I find interesting, and I was looking through the Challenger, and of course, maybe if I go through their websites, I'll find it. Now, you remember a couple years ago when they made the push to move it to the November election.
Yes.
Everyone said, "Oh, the money that'll get put into
Right.
it. Oh, the politics." Not one of these people. Have mentioned that the teachers union endorsed, or they have their endorsements, because again, when you get the teachers endorsements, you get the funding, then you get whatever teachers live in the city, they're generally their vote. None of them mentioned that this go round, so I'm interested to see how that played out.
And again, I don't know who wrote these, but
Yes.
in Terrence Hurd's, it does say something about unions.
Yes.
Eva Dorr says, historically, I want to mention that the first black woman to run for president of the United States was the Honorable Shirley Chisholm, who lived in West New York. Yes, and as I always say, my mausoleum
across.
is right across. Like I'll be able to look out my window.
Hey, Shirley.
Hey, Shirley, how you doing? What you think about the election?
We both was unbought and unbossed.
So when you go to that tour at Forest Lawn, they take you to Shirley Chisholm, depending on which tour you go in. You go, just look right across. My name is already there. I'm already ready. I'm ready.
But
Why
you
do
know,
what?
the educational system, I mean, you know, and like you said, I think that's one of the most important elections is Board of Education. And it's so complex. I mean, I was fortunate. Shout out to School 82, Ronald Peoples School of Scholars. They did an event for Harvest Fest, but incorporated parents being able to come talk to the teachers at that same time.
Absolutely.
And so I was able to go there, and I saw many parents there. And I think we have to make it a little bit easier for parents to be engaged because our educational system is so challenging. And if parents don't advocate for their child, you can't expect the school system to make you challenge.
Well, you know, one of the things, and I didn't want my daughters to move to Houston. I did not. I was totally against it. I'm very open about that. And now I eat my foot, my hat, right? Because they're in these schools that the teachers don't, and I'm not saying this doesn't happen in Buffalo. I'm reflecting on their experience. They don't just call home when the kid has done something wrong. It's like this whole newsletter when the kids are doing something right and emails home and such had a good day today and da-da-da. And the advances that my grandchildren, you know, I got one rambunctious little grandbaby just all over the place, bumping off the walls, off the ceiling. If he could jump up to the ceiling and hold on to the chandelier, he would. He's so intelligent. Yeah. And what I learned is he was probably really, really bored in certain and he wasn't in Buffalo Public Schools, so I'm not putting that up on them. I'm just saying that in different areas, it is so important, and especially in areas where you have this huge amount of African Americans. It's like you going to college, you know, the South, for instance, you going to college, you got HBCUs. It is important. You got the fraternities, the sororities. Up here in this area, they talking about the fraternity, sorority, you know, it's demon possessed because it's secret society. Oh my gosh, really? Can we get the kids in school and get them excited about being a part of something, and be excited about sisterhood and brotherhood and working together and building a community?
But having a culture, you know, I can say growing up, my grandparents, my parents always talked about going to college. I really didn't think it was something real for me until I had a relationship with the choir. When I was a member of Zion Community Choir, and most of the people who were in Zion Community Choir were talking about college.
We went to college.
They went to college. So I'm like, oh,
that was the culture.
And that was the culture. And I think that was probably the thing that really spurred me to say, I got to go to college because my peers, my friends were going to college. And I think we don't have a lot of that.
We kind of looked at each other crazy when you a senior. The question was, it wasn't if you're going to, it was what school you going to.
Where you going?
Right? And whether you went to ECC, it didn't matter.
Just go somewhere.
You had to go or do something positive. So out of that choir came nurses. You know, June, her name was Lewis then. Naomi, who was the principal a long time for Buffalo Public Schools. Jan, yourself, me. I mean, it goes on and on and on of people, Brett, other people who at the end of the day went on to become very successful. And I mean, because that was the culture. And I'm going to say this out, the church folk can get mad at me if you want to. I came up in a church where education, I'm going to get in trouble for this, was more important than shouting.
I can understand that.
I know I'm in trouble. I'm not saying shouting and pray. That's important.
No.
But when you come down off of that shout, somebody need to be able to read.
I was getting ready to say, you know, I came from a full tongue talking, shout for 4 hours church.
Yes.
And to her credit, and I always give her the credit, the pastor of the church, my cousin, she always would say, once you finish in speaking in tongues, can you talk to me in English?
Come on, speak.
How can you
proper English?
In proper English. How can you understand the heavenlies, but you can't understand 2 + 2?
I receive all of that.
There is churches that even in that spectrum can understand. How can you and God is saying this, but then when your teacher is showing you a textbook, you like, I don't know what that says.
Yes.
So
I'm on a whole different trajectory since Africa, and people are stopping me every day almost. When you go back, well, I really want to go back. I'm really working on taking a different group because I'm on this like, listen, I'm unashamedly African, and at the end of the day, we got to get ourselves together.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm all for the praise. I'm all for all of that. I'm all for the spirituality. I'm all in there. But you listen. Sometimes the church has lost its way.
Oh, absolutely.
And it becomes more about the blessings of God and the things that God will do for you and not what you're going to do for God by utilizing what you got up here.
But even the Bible says first the natural, then the spiritual.
Come on.
So how could you get a natural education, but you want to get the deepness of God?
Bernadette Washington is on. She raised 2 sons who went to college. Blake just finished college. Blake is on his way to grad school, and she knows the importance. There's nothing more important my kids can have.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to support my kids the rest of their life.
Yes.
Let me say
But
that.
no one can take it from them either.
But if they have something, so when I got back from Africa, I took my own responsibility on my own family. So I was like, you know what? You see the kids sometime, you don't. So now every week I put everybody in the group chat whether they want to or not. And as the father, I send a prayer, a sincere prayer, not something I got off the internet, and then encouragement to my adult children to do well.
That's big.
Well, but then that manifests itself because for your children to come and surprise
Absolutely.
you during your, I saw the emotion in you.
Oh, I cried.
And that speaks volumes because it wasn't always a smooth
Yes.
thing.
It was
But
tough.
Look at where it is now. And your daughter, your oldest daughter, said
Yes.
to you the appreciation that I'm sure for a long time you're like, am I ready to get that? And all of a sudden she's like, Dad, you know what?
And she's
I
been
may
doing
not-
it for the
I may
last
not
few
have
years.
liked that, but
The last few
yeah.
years, my daughters and sons have shown that appreciation for me being what I needed to be.
Yes.
Was I always that? No. Should I have done better? You daggone Skippy. But I tell you this, and I'll be transparent. There were times I put more time into my work than I did into my family.
Absolutely.
And I apologize.
We
for
all
that.
have.
I apologize publicly for that. I'm a people. I had to be delivered from being a people pleaser. It was everybody else's problems. Everybody else's this, and I ignored at times the greatest things that were in my life. Period.
And I'm
Point
not.
blank.
And I'm not going to take because I think we all have at some point. Do you think you were rationalizing that at some point because you were providing as well?
Oh, absolutely.
So that was because you were providing,
bruh.
just like I got to keep giving to
My
provide.
thought was, as long as I'm providing,
Yes.
I'm doing what a man should be doing, and I
Right.
was way off.
Yeah.
Because what I provided was finances,
Yep.
houses, cars,
Yep.
all that. And I'm not taking that away. I worked my butt off to provide
Absolutely.
that stuff. But my daughters, people who are in relationship with me, needed more than a new car.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Say what you want to. I'm being I'm going to keep being transparent. And we got to go. But go ahead. Your last thought.
But and A.R. Bernard did
Oh,
gave us
yeah,
a
man. Yeah.
He set us aflame. I
Yeah.
was like, I like that.
Yeah.
But I was just telling a cousin of mine, telling him about. He said, "Why aren't our families close anymore? It don't seem like we do the family things anymore. We get away from that." And some of us, I'm like, I looked up to my grandmother. I looked up to my uncles.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have that motto in front of us to help us if we're going to be better parents,
Absolutely.
better
Absolutely.
family members.
And you're totally right. You got to. It's better to live a sermon than to preach a sermon.
Yes,
And so that's why I'm wide open to be able to say. So especially younger families and all that. Listen, don't go get caught up in everybody else and trying to help everybody else. And because at the end of the day, they gonna walk right away from you when you ain't the popular one. You ain't to this. You ain't to that. Take care of home. I learned it. I got a T-shirt, a hat. I got a trophy. I got an award. I'm in top 10. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 3 locations to serve you. 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaner, 874 East Delavan Avenue. Listen, folks, it's been a great show. One thing I didn't bring up, and I do agree, and Kamal said it on the feed, community schools, I wish they would look more, especially for the younger areas or younger children, and especially in areas of poverty, so that parents are able to go to their school, parents are able to interact and be a part, because a lot of parents don't have the cars and all that. I do totally agree with that. I got to throw it back over to the station. Until we meet again, power to the people.